Top 5 facts you might not know about death row. 1. The infamous last meal. Not all prisons offer the option of having a special final meal. The ones that do often set a $40 limit to dissuade fanciful meals of caviar and lobster on the taxpayer's dime. The most common choice of last meal in the United States is a cheeseburger with fries. However, there have been some rather extravagant and downright weird choices. A man named James Edward Smith once requested a lump of dirt, apparently for a voodoo ritual. But this was refused from the prison. He had yogurt instead. There were other requests also. Robert Buell opted for a single black olive in the hope of his corpse sprouting into a tree, while Gerald Lee Mitchell asked for a bag of Jolly Ranchers. 2. Special privileges. Items that death row inmates are allowed to have in some states include CD players, coffee pots, library and DVD access, and even pet cats. However, that privileges are given for a reason. They are rewards for good behavior and can be taken away completely if the prisoner does not cooperate and abide by the rules. 3. Shocking statistics. In California, the current death row system costs $137 million per year, whereas it would cost $11.5 million for a system where prisoners serve life sentences instead. Since 1973, 144 people have actually been released from death row after evidence proved their wrongful convictions. It is also important to note that the murder rate per capita in states that practice capital punishment is actually higher than in those that don't. Therefore, it could be stated that capital punishment is not an effective deterrent against murder. 4. Death row inmate escape. Despite numerous security and surveillance measures, escapes from death row do happen. Possibly one of the most audacious escapes is that of Charles Victor Thompson, who landed himself on death row in 1998 for the murder of his girlfriend and another man. How did the convicted killer escape? All Thompson had to do was smuggle in a suit and arrange a meeting with his lawyer. After the meeting, Thompson switched into his finest suit and walked out. When he got to the front desk, he was halted by a guard. But Thompson had prepared for this eventuality. He flashed his inmate badge at the guard, telling him he worked for the Attorney General, and walked away. Unfortunately, he was arrested 3 days later after getting hammered at a liquor store in East Texas. 5. It's all the same for men, women, and children. The death penalty is not confined to one gender. As of January 1st, 2013, there were 63 women on death row in America. Those 63 women constitute a measly 2% of the total death row population of 3,125. Since the death sentence was reintroduced in 1976, 13 women have been executed in the U.S., compared to a whopping 1,360 males during the same period. However, the age does not always seem to be a barrier to receiving a death sentence. George Junius Stinney was only 14 when he was executed, the youngest person executed in the United States in the 20th century. Stinney was convicted of murdering 2 young girls in South Carolina and given the electric chair. In January 2014, Stinney's family asked the governor to reopen the case to clear his name. An all-white jury convicted Stinney in just 10 minutes, even though no witnesses testified during the trial. It may sound hard to believe, but the United States only abolished the execution of minors on March 1st, 2005.